Let me tell you something that sounds almost too simple to be true. A single raw beetroot, that dense, blood-red root most people shove to the side of the plate, can measurably lower your blood pressure within hours. Not a folktale, not wishful thinking, something researchers have measured in clinical trials with cuffs on real arms again and again. So if you clicked on this because you wanted to know what raw beetroot actually does to your blood pressure, you are in exactly the right place. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through what happens inside your body, step by step, from the moment you chew it to the moment your arteries relax. And I'm going to give you 10 to 15 concrete things the science shows, including one ordinary bathroom habit that can silently cancel the entire effect, wiping out every bit of benefit before it ever reaches your blood. Most people have never heard of it. I will get to it near the end, so stay with me. Let us start with the thing that makes beetroot special in the first place. Number 1. Beetroot is one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrate. Now, when you hear the word nitrate, your mind might jump to something unhealthy, the additives in cured meats. But this is a different, inorganic form found naturally in vegetables, and the body treats it very differently. A single serving of beets can deliver several hundred milligrams of nitrate, far more than most other foods on your plate. Leafy greens like spinach and rocket are the only real rivals. And here is where it gets interesting. That nitrate is the raw material for a molecule your blood vessels absolutely depend on. Number 2. That molecule is nitric oxide. It is a tiny, short-lived gas your body produces, and it is one of the most powerful natural signals for widening blood vessels. When nitric oxide is released into the wall of an artery, the smooth muscle wrapped around that vessel relaxes. The vessel opens wider. And when the pipe gets wider, the pressure inside it falls. That is the heart of the whole story. But how the beetroot becomes nitric oxide is stranger than you would guess. Number 3. It runs through your spit. This is called the enterosalivary pathway, and it is genuinely remarkable. You eat the beetroot, the nitrate is absorbed in your gut, and then, instead of just passing through, a good portion of it is pulled back up and concentrated in your salivary glands. So minutes later, that nitrate is pooling in your saliva, waiting on your tongue. Your body is deliberately routing it back into your mouth. And it does that for a reason you will only fully appreciate in a moment. Number 4. The bacteria on your tongue do the work you cannot. Humans lack the enzymes to easily turn nitrate into nitrite, the next step in the chain. But certain friendly bacteria living on the back of your tongue can. They take that nitrate-rich saliva and reduce it to nitrite. You swallow it, it hits the acid of your stomach and your bloodstream, and there it is finally converted into nitric oxide. Think about that. You are in a partnership with microbes you never asked for, and without them, the beetroot barely works. Hold on to that fact. It is the key to the big secret I promised. Number 5. Now, the actual blood pressure numbers, because this is what you came for. In a well-known trial at Queen Mary University of London, healthy volunteers who drank about 250 milliliters of beetroot juice saw their systolic blood pressure drop by roughly 8 points within a few hours. Broader reviews pooling mini-studies land more conservatively, an average systolic drop of around 4 to 5 millimeters of mercury from regular nitrate-rich beet intake. That may not sound dramatic, but across a whole population, a shift of that size is linked to meaningfully fewer strokes and heart events. Small number, big consequences. Number 6. The timing follows a curve, and knowing it changes how you think about beets. The effect is not instant. Blood pressure tends to reach its lowest point somewhere around 2 to 3 hours after you consume the nitrate, the time it takes for that whole spit-to-stomach relay to run its course. It is not a permanent fix either. The effect fades over the following hours, which is exactly why the studies that show lasting benefit rely on people eating nitrate-rich vegetables consistently, day after day, not just once. Let me pause here and ask you something. Have you ever eaten beets and then, later, had a small moment of panic in the bathroom? Because that brings us to the next one. Number 7. Beeturia. In some people, estimates suggest a meaningful minority. Beetroot turns urine, and sometimes stool, a startling pink or red. It is harmless. It is caused by betalains, the same pigments that give the root its deep color, passing through relatively intact. Whether it happens depends partly on your gut and your stomach acidity. So no, it is not blood. It is just the beet waving on its way out. Number 8. Those same betalains do more than color things. Betalains, including the red-purple betanin, are being studied for antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. Chronic inflammation and oxidative stress quietly damage the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels over years, and a healthier lining produces nitric oxide more freely on its own. So the pigment and the nitrate may be working the same side of the street from two different directions. I should be careful here. A lot of that betalain research is still early, much of it in the lab rather than in large human trials. Promising, not proven. Number 9. Potassium, the quiet partner. Beetroot delivers a solid dose of potassium, and potassium matters for blood pressure through a completely separate mechanism from nitric oxide. It helps your kidneys release excess sodium, and it helps relax vessel walls. Most modern diets are flooded with sodium and starved of potassium, the exact opposite of what the body evolved for. So a food that pushes that ratio back toward balance is doing useful work before the nitrate even gets involved. Number 10. Now, raw versus cooked. This is the question that started the whole title, so let us be honest about it. Nitrate is water-soluble and somewhat heat-sensitive. When you boil beets, a portion of that nitrate leaches out into the cooking water, which you then pour down the drain. Roasting and steaming are gentler. Eating it raw, grated into a salad, blended into a juice, preserves the most nitrate of all, because nothing is lost to the pot. That is the real reason raw beetroot earns its place in the headline. You are keeping the active ingredient intact. But, and here is a twist people rarely mention, raw beets also carry more oxalates. Number 11. Oxalates and the kidney caution. Beetroot is relatively high in oxalate compounds, and in people prone to the most common type of kidney stone, a very high oxalate load can be a concern. This is not a reason for most people to fear beets. It is simply a reason that anyone with a history of kidney stones or on certain medications should talk to their own doctor rather than take blanket advice from a video. I am not here to give you a prescription. I am here to tell you what the science shows. Number 12. The exercise connection, which surprised even the researchers. Because nitric oxide improves blood flow and appears to make your muscles use oxygen a little more efficiently, several studies have found that beetroot juice can modestly improve endurance performance. Cyclists and runners going slightly longer before exhaustion on the same effort. The same vessel-relaxing chemistry that eases your blood pressure may also, quietly, let your body do more with each breath. One root, two payoffs. Number 13. Folate for the long game. Beets are a decent source of folate, a B vitamin your body needs to keep homocysteine, an amino acid linked in some studies to blood vessel damage, from building up. It is not a dramatic overnight effect. It is the slow, structural kind of benefit, keeping the machinery of your circulation in good repair over years. Now, I promised you the one thing that can silently erase all of this. Here it is. Remember number 4, those helpful bacteria on the back of your tongue, the ones that turn nitrate into nitrite? They are the single most vulnerable link in the entire chain, and there is one everyday product designed specifically to kill mouth bacteria, strong antibacterial mouthwash. Researchers have actually tested this. When people used an antiseptic mouthwash, wiping out those tongue microbes, the blood pressure lowering effect of dietary nitrate was blunted, in some studies, largely abolished. Think about the irony. You could eat the beetroot faithfully, do everything right, and then rinse away the very bacteria that make it work, all in the name of fresh breath. That is the quiet saboteur I promised you at the start. Not the beet, not your heart, your mouthwash. So let me pull this together because the whole picture is more elegant than any single fact. Raw beetroot is rich in nitrate. Your saliva concentrates it, your tongue bacteria convert it, your gut finishes the job, and nitric oxide relaxes your arteries, dropping systolic pressure by a few meaningful points for several hours. Alongside that, potassium, betalains, and folate work their slower, supporting roles. And the whole beautiful chain depends on a microbial partnership you probably never knew you had. None of this makes beetroot a medicine, and it will not replace anything your doctor has prescribed. But it is a genuine, measurable, well-studied effect from an ordinary vegetable, and that is rarer than you might think. If you found this useful and you would like more of the real science behind everyday foods explained calmly and honestly, I would love to have you stick around and subscribe. There is always another quiet mechanism hiding in the food on your plate, and I would like to be the